Lipedema and histamine flares. This has been a hot topic with a lot of my clients in the past month or so. I want to speak to it both from a nutritional science standpoint and also as somebody who was diagnosed with mast cell activation syndrome way back over 10 years ago, before it was definitely as known or as prevalent. And so many of you listening right now may be saying, I don't even know what a histamine flare feels like, or if there is any of that happening in my body. Typically, it would show up as increased anxiety, itching, especially with vibration, flushing in response to food, perfumes, room sprays, a million other things, medications, all kinds of things can cause flushing and itching. Dizziness, waking up at night wired but tired, and maybe some out of the blue GI symptoms that have just been starting to happen. And you can see that many of these symptoms are things that just happen in life normally. Just because they're there doesn't mean that we're having a histamine response per se, although mast cell activation syndrome is common in women with lipedema, which is why I want to talk about it. That being said, histamine is actually not the enemy that it's made out to be. It's simply a signaling molecule that is released by mast cells, especially when your body is under stress or it perceives that it is under stress. And here's the part that we don't talk about enough, and that is that there is a nutritional component here that's often overlooked, although I feel like we sort of flirt with it a little bit in the lipedema nutrition space, generally speaking, and that is mineral balance, particularly electrolytes. So when the nervous system becomes less stable, mast cell reaction becomes more heightened or reactive per se. So when a woman with lipedema is having issues with mast cells and histamine, they can have more autonomic dysfunction, which is where that feeling of dizziness or low blood pressure type of feeling, or low blood sugar even, comes in. You may feel like you're a little bit faint, especially going from sitting to standing. Although some people do actually have autonomic dysfunction like POTS, but sometimes it's just that sensation happening. Or you can have blood pooling or low blood volume, because when there is a higher sympathetic tone, in regards to having a mineral imbalance, then women can experience a higher heart rate. They can experience constriction of the blood vessels, which can create blood pooling. All of these things can happen when we don't have a good balance in the sodium-potassium pump. And this can make the reaction to mast cells be more prevalent, but that doesn't necessarily mean that mast cells are the cause. It just means that your response is getting louder. So what are the mechanisms at play here? What happens when sodium and minerals, electrolytes are low is that your blood volume can drop, like I was saying earlier, because of the constriction in the blood vessels. There can be a rise in stress hormones, which link to anxiety, among other things, GI distress. And the release of mast cells become easier. So even small triggers can create a more pronounced reaction. And before you go cutting food, a really great takeaway from all of this is that you need to ask yourself if your body is hydrated while still being mineral supported. Because if you're simply just drinking plain water, you may actually be pushing out some of the minerals that you need for good electrolyte balance. I know this can be tricky because we encourage hydration with lipedema to thin lymph fluid. And so you have to play around with this a little bit and figure out what is best for your body, because everyone is a little bit different. There's not a one size fits all approach, even with this, because we all have different sodium reserve in our tissue. We're all eating different diets, and we all have different exposure to different foods. And all of those things play into this. So I'm just making sure I'm saying everything I want to say. Why does this help? Because when you balance minerals, you improve your blood volume, you calm the nervous system and let some of those stress hormones come down, and you increase the threshold where your body is able to tolerate the mast cell release. And by the way, mast cell degranulation is calcium dependent. So you want to make sure that you are also getting calcium and magnesium into your body, which are going to help stabilize mast cells rather than just trying to suppress them. The signal is going to keep getting louder. So adequate calcium and magnesium, testing out the electrolytes to help calm the nervous system and good mineral balance, and gentle, consistent nutrition. Not fasting and not restricting, both of those things can put your body into a higher stress response. I think I'm going to end this there. I hope this was helpful. If you have any specific questions, please reach out. Please share this with women with lipedema and possible histamine flares so that they can better understand just some little tweaks that they can do to help them live a healthier, more calm histamine flare life. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.